We currently put 350,000 tonnes of textile waste into landfill each year in the UK, often with as much as 70% of its useful life still left in. The effects of this are greenhouse gas emissions and toxic pollution, not to mention using up landfill space which is due to run out in less than 10 years. As an upcycling designer myself, I found that a culture of constant newness in the fashion industry has led to overconsumption and huge volumes of waste, as can be seen in this image of the many tonnes of textile waste generated by just one textile plant in the UK. To be responsible, we can donate our used clothing to charity shops and put it in textile banks. But even with the clear environmental benefits from bypassing the bin, it's still difficult to get everyone on board, especially big business. 1 tonne of second-hand clothing has an average sale value of just £900, compared to the average sale value of newly made clothing at £13,000 a tonne and upwards. This is a drop in value of 93%. Clearly, profits from textile reprocessing are limited, which is what makes it so difficult to get big business on board. But these are the people who could make the biggest differences. The aims of my research are to analyse the impact of fashion consumption, investigate if fashion upcycling can be scaled up for mainstream retail, and to develop a model for large-scale upcycle production. To do this, I first documented and modelled my own process as an upcycling designer. I then looked at what current fashion upcycling already exists in the UK. At the moment, there are a number of local niche designer maker-led enterprises, and they're successfully making use of waste textiles, which are a largely untapped source of supply for the fashion industry. Discarded goods are transformed into products with much greater value than second-hand textiles. I interviewed a number of these leading upcycling designers, visited their studios and observed their design practice. I then created a model for upcycle fashion design and production and fed this back to the designers to get their reactions and use these responses to refine the model even further. I then interviewed designers in the mainstream fashion industry and compared the processes to see where the differences were. What I found was that sourcing and gathering of raw materials has to occur much earlier on in the upcycling process, and that greater flexibility has to be present in the pattern cutting techniques so that inconsistent fabric supplies can be taken into account. With this model, it is possible to scale up the process of turning trash into treasure for the greatest benefits for people and planet.